Hi there, I'm Wild Humphrey, and they call me the Fact Master because I'll tell you all those things you never knew you didn't know, and some that you probably do, and that's a fact. Now we're on to President number 34, and he was born on the 14th of October 1890. His name was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Of course it was. Dwight D. Eisenhower was a general. He was the guy who was put in charge of the Allies in World War II on their assault against the Nazis. He was a proven leader. The Americans loved him. And although America didn't join World War II until December the 8th, 1941, there was still a need for this Allies advance to have someone to lead them who had that experience, and Dwight D was the guy. Now the people liked him. It seemed everybody did. He won a second term, had a great time. He lived until the 28th of March 1969, which meant he missed the moon landing. That's a fact. Step in President number 35, who was born on the 29th of May 1917. John Fitzgerald Kennedy is his name, was his name. Now Kennedy, he won the vote against Nixon in 1960. He was voted in November the 8th, and on the 20th of January he stood there and said, "I do solemnly swear I shall faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of the United States." And he was known as the 1,000-day president. Why? Because he had done so much in such a short time. But like all famous people, they make enemies for some reason or other. And it was the fateful day, Friday, the 22nd of November. JFK in his car in Dallas, in a Ford Lincoln, was assassinated. Now the whole world blamed Lee Harvey Oswald. But did he do it? Most Americans don't believe he did. But someone did. Will we ever know for sure? But JFK, if you like, is arguably the second most famous president of them all. And obviously his wife was Jacqueline. And when he was assassinated on that fateful Friday in downtown Dallas, he was taken to the nearby hospital, declared dead an hour later. And his supposed assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, was shot and killed 2 days later by a guy called Jack Ruby. And Ruby then became known as the assassin's assassin. JFK was buried on Monday the 25th of November, and on that day Lee Harvey Oswald was also buried, obviously in different places, and they've both been declared dead in the same hospital. That's a fact. But JFK was the fourth president to be assassinated. Touch wood, the last one. But compared to the other three, JFK was the only Democrat ever to be assassinated. He's also the only Catholic ever to be assassinated. He's also the only president to die the day he was shot. He was also the only president who was shot with a rifle. And that's a fact. On the day of his funeral, standing there was his wife with his 3-year-old son. And that just happened to be his son's 3rd birthday. And that's a fact. because of his assassination, he was known as the 1,000-day president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. A few years later, his brother Teddy would also be assassinated in '68 on the night of the 5th of June in the Ambassador Hotel. And the Ambassador Hotel was the head office for the modelling agency who employed Marilyn Monroe, who was a good friend of both Robert and John F. Kennedy. And that's a fact. Anyway, moving on to President number 36. Lyndon Baines Johnson. Now, Johnson was sworn in on Friday the 22nd November, and he's the only president ever to be sworn in aboard Air Force One. Yep, the president's plane, he was aboard there, and standing with him that afternoon was Jacqueline Kennedy in their pink outfit with the pillar box hat covered in the blood of her husband. That's a fact. Now, Johnson was a bit of an advocate of the Vietnam War, which was not popular in America, or Britain for that matter, or many other places, and particularly Vietnam itself. Although that war had started under Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Johnson didn't really do much to stop it, so it just carried on. He did get voted in for another term, even though he wasn't as favourable as some others, shall we say. But significantly, Johnson succeeded John F. Kennedy after his assassination. There was another Johnson who succeeded Lincoln after his assassination. And Lincoln and Kennedy, there's lots of things you can look at and wonder why did that happen. All the coincidences and all the different things. Look at yourself. It's pretty good. Anyway, and Johnson finished. The man who lost out to JFK in 1960 got the victory he'd always wanted, and his name was Richard Milhous Nixon, president number 37. He'd been born on the 9th of January 1913, and during his time in office, his first term, you could say it was going quite well. People were happy enough with him. And he got a second term, but then on the night of the 17th of June 1972, something happened. A break-in at offices that caused all kinds of trouble for the president. It's known as the Whitegate scandal. And Nixon actually said there'll be no whitewash at the White House. But there was. He did try cover things up, as did many others. On the 27th of April 1974, 10,000 people marched on Washington demanding the impeachment of Richard Nixon. But Nixon was never impeached. Only 2 presidents have ever been impeached. Nixon is not one of them, and that's a fact. But Nixon is the only president ever to resign from office, and he did that in 1974 on the 9th of August. And what he did, he handed power to his vice president, Gerald Ford. And what Gerald Ford did was give Nixon a full pardon for any offences he may have committed while in office. People weren't too pleased about that, and Ford only served out the rest of that term. When he came to the election, even though he thought he would win his time back in office, he was beaten by a guy called Jimmy Carter. Now, Jimmy Carter, obviously short for James, there's been 8 presidents named James, and James Carter, or Jimmy Carter, was, I think, it was a bit like a preacher when he gave his speeches. He would always say, I believe. His two favourite words were I believe. And he had a quiet time. He was succeeded by President number 40, who I'll talk to you about next time. And that is a fact. I'm Wild Humphrey, the Fact Master. I'll tell you all those things you never knew you didn't know. And what's in here now, quite a lot of it is in here. Wild about facts. There's plenty of them in there. Every day of the year. 9781913151508 is the ISBN number, the only one you need. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with some more facts, some more presidents, some more stories, and that's a fact. Take it easy.